Is everyone else exhausted? Is everyone else constantly exhausted? Do you wake up and feel like you have not slept despite the fact that you have slept? I know so many factors can come into play in such a statement. Like you can tell me maybe I'm just fatigued, there's just something going on in my body. But no, this is a mental thing. This is something that I have begun feeling once my life began moving a certain way, once I started doing certain things, like staying on my laptop the whole day, like watching series and watching movies and watching YouTube videos the whole day. I have begun feeling exhausted. And we are being dumbed down. We are dumbing down and we don't care about it. I've always seen these getting off of my phone videos, like a week of being off my phone 24 hours, not using my phone, not doom scrolling. And I always just thought of them as a trend. I never really saw anything critical in them. But now I'm starting to realize that we all need to be doing this. We all need to be staying off of our phones, staying off of our laptops and screens. And I feel like we've said it's usually stay off your phone, and we forget that laptops and other screens are still screens. Because I don't use my phone. I barely use my phone. I just use my phone to check certain things. But most of the times I'm on my laptop 24/7, 12/7, because the other 12 I'm sleeping. But as you can see, there is an epidemic of being dumbed down and not even realizing it. The worst damage can be done to you if you do not realize it's being done to you. And I feel like that's what's happening. A few days ago, I was required to write an essay for something. And I decided, okay, this time I'm not going to use AI because I need to cultivate my writing skills and I need to be able to write like I used to. So I took a pen and I took a paper and I started a timer for 40 minutes to write an essay. It was a simple essay, a personal essay about my life and about specific hardships and struggles that I faced and what I've learned from them. And the way I was blank, I was even wondering, like, how do we begin essays? And I was like, okay, so where am I supposed to start? Like, how do I even answer this question? I felt so dumb. I felt so stupid in the moment. And I found myself just going back to AI and just pasting it there and being like, don't give me an essay, but help me understand how to break this down. And I was not satisfied with the end result because anything that's been written by AI has been written a certain way and it's not the right way, it's not the human way. And that is what made me feel like I'm losing my brain cells. I started realizing that so many skills that I used to have in writing, in speaking, in creating thoughts of my own are going away. And then I went on YouTube and I started watching videos on how to write essays or write more essays. There's specific videos that I really loved, which I'm going to link below, by Odysseys and another guy whose name I don't know. And when I was watching these videos, I realized that our thinking skills and our writing skills are so important. We feel like we do not need to write after school. Like, I'm done with high school, I'm done with primary, probably done with uni. I'm not done with uni, but maybe you're done with uni. And you're like, I do not need to write anymore. I don't need to keep my writing skills intact. But your writing skills are directly connected to your thinking skills, because for you to be able to write something, you have to be able to think. You have to have a thought process. You have to break down your ideas and be able to present them in a meaningful way. So by losing our writing skills, we are losing our thinking skills. Something else that plays into losing our thinking skills is the fact that information is being served to us completely packaged. Everything has been done to the information. It has been cut, chopped, packaged, and literally just passed to you, and you do not have to think about it. You just have to internalize it and take it in. You do not have to think about what they are telling you in form of YouTube videos, for example, or TikTok videos where someone is explaining something. You do not even go to fact check what they're saying. You just take the information as gospel and you add it onto the list of things you know but you don't really know. You find that so many people have so much surface knowledge on everything. People just have information that they do not really understand and they keep on sharing this information. And I feel like we never really see just how important it is for us to stay away from our screens more and to just do things which cultivate our thinking skills more. Because a people who cannot think are people who can be controlled. People who do not have thinking processes for themselves, people who do not know how to consolidate their own opinions of things are people who can be easily manipulated and controlled. And these things are happening on a scale which we are not able to see because we just think, I'm just harmlessly scrolling on TikTok, I'm just harmlessly scrolling on Instagram for hours, I'm just watching YouTube videos for hours. I'm literally not excluding long form content because I feel like the distinction between long form and short form comes when you want to talk about attention spans. I watch long form content all the time. I watch series, I watch movies, I watch YouTube videos which are even 47 minutes long. And yes, my attention span is now longer, but my brain is still being fried. The quality of content, yes, I do try and mix up and have like educational content and more content, but I realize when I'm consuming content of any kind, it's like my brain is turned off. It's like I'm not thinking. I'm just actively receiving things, but I'm not thinking through what I'm receiving. If you even think about our idea of rewinding and rest, it is so out of the right, like it is so misplaced. When you have had a busy week, a stressful month, you come back home and you're like, oh, it's time for me to rest and rewind. Do you know how you do that? You rest and rewind by going on your bed, taking your phone and scrolling, or taking your laptop and watching something. So we rest and rewind by watching more things and being more on screen and doing more on screen activities. And in the real sense, your body might be physically resting because you're in your bed, but your mind is awake. Your mind is just constantly being stimulated and not processing things, just receiving things. So even our idea of rest is completely off. I have been on holiday for I think 2 weeks now, and this is the most I've been on screen, the most I've been consuming things because I was really busy previously. And now I'm realizing that there's nothing I'm gaining from what I'm consuming. Even when I watch videos that are educative, there's nothing I'm gaining. I'm just listening to someone speaking to me. Unless I actually take an effort and pick up a book and decide, okay, I'm going to write notes as I listen to this video. And maybe it's a 30-minute video, I end up watching it for an hour because I have to pause and write things and internalize. Then in that way, it is helpful to me. It is making me think. And it's so important for us to think. We are losing our ability to think and form opinions. Something that helps us also form opinions and think is reading. I've been getting back into reading as well. And I've specifically been getting into reading classics because I really want to learn how to think again. I don't just want a story, I want a story that will make me think, a story where I can have my own opinions. And what I've realized is that when you are reading a story, a good story, not just fiction that's fiction for the sake of fiction, like books which really make you think, you have opinions and you question things that the writer is saying. And that's the point of the book. The point of the book is not to have you on the same side as the one who's writing the book. The point of the book is to make you have your own opinions about things. And that is something which is critical in our day and age. We cannot be a woke generation. We cannot be a generation which stands up for things and is democratic if our brains are dumbed down, if we are controlled by our screens. And we always say we are controlled by our screens, but we do not internalize it because we're literally controlled by our screens. The news that we receive, it passes through these very screens. If someone wants to condition you a certain way, they can use the algorithm to be able to do that. And I feel like of late, my YouTube algorithm has just been so dissatisfactory, and that's why maybe I'm taken a step back and realized, oh, am I addicted to watching YouTube videos? You know, we've always been told like transition from short form content to long form content because of your attention span, and I get that. But long form content can also be addictive and worse. So, because it is still exhausting. I find myself constantly refreshing my YouTube page just to find a video that I can watch. And when I watch the video, I either don't finish it or I finish it and I wasn't even there. I was just looking at it. It is very exhausting. Something else I want to talk about is AI. Using AI to constantly write and constantly think. You know, we don't just use AI for, okay, draft an essay for me. We use AI to generate ideas. We use it to do so many things. And I think we need to pull back a little from that because we are losing even our own ability to have such processes and to get through the gritty bits of being creative, to get through the hard bits of being creative, because being creative means you're going to go through blocks, you're going to go through periods where you do not have any ideas, and that's part of the creative process. It's part of how you get to the final idea, but we are skipping that entirely by just using AI, using all these AI models to be able to think for us and to create for us and to do this and that for us. And the thing is, AI can never be you. They can never get in your head and actually get that idea the way that you want it out. So it's an attempt at trying to get an idea out, but it's not your idea. It doesn't come out in the way that you want it to because you're trying to force it out fast through using an AI generated idea. Instead, try and sit with your ideas more and try and get through that hard bit of not being able to figure out how to present your ideas properly. I've really just tried to limit myself to AI. I'm trying to write my own things. I'm trying to have my own thoughts. Even if right now, as I try and write things, it feels so imperfect. It feels like I am stupid and I do not know how to write things like essays. I do not know how to form thoughts. I recently bought a book to start writing essays, and yesterday I wrote my first essay, and it's bad. It's bad, but I wrote it anyways. And that's the thing, doing these small steps to try and get back my thinking skills. I wish we could just live in a world where social media, screens, they all did not exist, and we just had fields of land and peaceful farms and cows, and we all interacted, we all told stories. We have lost the art of even conversing with one another. I wish I could have like stranger to stranger conversations with people on the street. I wish I could just go outside and have a lovely day just by interacting with other people. But you find that even when you're outside, everyone is just scrolling on their phones. Our screens, our phones, our social medias have become a replacement for real life, and we do not realize that they have become a replacement for connection with people. You feel like you miss people, you feel like you don't have connection with people, you just open your phone and you feel like you're talking to a friend by just watching their video. And that's a good thing, but when we use it too much to the point where it replaces what we are supposed to have as human beings, then that's a bad thing. It's not right for that to be happening to us. Whenever we feel deprived of certain things, we run to the phone, we run to social media, we run to all these digital things to give us that thing that we feel like we lack. And the thing is, it does not give us that, but it just widens the gap while making us feel like we're getting it. You feel like you're getting social connections. You feel like you know so many people, but you just know them online because you watch their videos, because you see them. You don't actually know these people, but it's giving you an illusion of knowing them. I feel like people should create more art, people should create more videos, yes, but people also need to step back more and realize what this is taking away from us. We need to realize how much we're losing in the process of being constantly online, being constantly on screen, because it's not just about your brain cells getting fried. Your brain cells getting fried is the first step in a really big scheme to have you dumbed down, to have you submissive, to have you living in an undemocratic society where you don't even know you do not have democracy. We are now raising kids who see us, like I have a little sister, and she usually sees us on our phones, on our laptops, and she's like, she cries for iPads and tablets and laptops because that's what she sees. And if it's just like that in our house, what about every other house? What about houses where young kids actually have their own screens and their own phones and tablets? That generation that's coming up is coming up already dumbed down, is coming up already not knowing how to think. We might be the last generation who knows how to think. We might be the last people who know how to use our brain cells. And it's really, really sad. We need to step back and go back to an actual analog lifestyle where we don't even record our analog lifestyle, because you are living an analog lifestyle, recording it on your camera, putting it online, and then whoever is seeing it is spending more time on screen to watch your analog life. It just doesn't make sense in a way. I get that you can record it to be able to incentivize and influence other people to also do it, but yeah, you don't have to always record the analog bits of your life. Saying that as someone who has a YouTube channel, caught red-handed. We need to get back to a sense of being able to learn without using AI. I was wondering how my university education would be if I was living in a time where AI did not exist. If maybe I was in university in 2012 and I had to do the research myself, to go on Google to read articles, to go to the library to pick books and to do the research myself. And I was like, how were they surviving back in the day? And you see, that already shows us that we do not know how to even research. We don't know how to do research. We do not know how to do these things. We are losing these skills, which are so important. I guess I'm just ranting about this and I hope it makes sense to people. I just feel like there's so much noise around us. There's so much political noise. There's so much conflicts going on around us. We are constantly stressed out and worried. And it feels like everything has just been crafted in such a geniusly evil way, because our leaders, the politicians, they know that the world right now is noisy and messy, and there's all these worries that are constantly on our minds. Because me, seated here in my room in Nairobi, I receive news from all over the world, news which stress me out despite the fact that they do not directly concern me right now. And I understand the fact that it's important for us to be able to know what's happening in other places and fight for other people's rights, but at the same time it brings me worries which I cannot do anything about. Like, it's just adding to my pile of worries. I already have worries about my own life, but it's adding to my pile of worries, and there's nothing I can actually do to be able to help that. So I am learning helplessness. I am learning that I can do nothing and that the state of the world is just horrible and dismayed, but there's nothing I can directly do to help that, to stop that, to make things better. And now social media and the internet comes as your way of rest, as your way of rewind, as your way of forgetting about all these things. It's somehow like a drug, if you think about it. I think in categories of drugs, we need to have like a virtual or a mental kind of drug, which you don't actually consume physically into your body, but you consume using your mind, because social media is that kind of drug, and there needs to be ways to mitigate the effects of such. People need to go to social media rehab. People need to go to doom scrolling rehab for sure. And I would love to be part of those people, because that can be such a wholesome experience. Going out, making things with my hands, being outside all day, sitting in the sun, visiting other people, talking to strangers, making art, singing out loud, having, like, I wish we had even communities where we could gather and tell stories, just tell stories, pass down stories. We are losing culture, we are losing ourselves, we are losing life through just being constantly online. And it's so sad. When I think about it, it pains me and it makes me wish I could have a field. Like, I lived on a house on a field far away from everyone, where I had my chickens and my cows, and I could be able to just forget the noise that's all around me and just feel peaceful mentally and physically. I know maybe this is something that so many people also feel. I know it might be like so exhausting right now to be existing this time and day and age, but take small steps to try and stay away from screens more, or to try and return your thinking skills. I might make another video like specifically talking about how we can get back to thinking and how we can cultivate our reading, writing, and thinking skills, because those three things are so important. But anyways, stay happy, stay woke, stay alive, and don't stay on your screen so much. Today, just reduce your screen time by 20 minutes. That's all. Just reduce it by 20 minutes. For those 20 minutes, sit down, close your eyes, and stare at the ceiling. I promise you, you will gain so much more than if you stay on your screen. You will rest, you will release fatigue, and you will just get back to a more balanced state instead of constantly being distracted. I will see you in the next video.